This Fox News headline really does beg a few questions. Bud Light insulted Main Street America and must take these steps to recover from backlash, lawmakers says. Yeah, I don't really care who the lawmaker is and all that stuff. Well, obviously, we'll go through it, but how is it affecting Anheuser Busch? Because there's a lot of presupposed questions just loaded within that one headline, okay? You insulted Main Street America. Yeah, okay, finally, y'all came around to this stuff that we figured out months and months ago at this point in time. But normally, there's a dichotomy set up when you have the Main Street people that are down there. Normally it's blue collar, white collar type situations, but you have Main Street against Wall Street. Hell, that was the entire slogan and electioneering that was going on back in 2008 surrounding Obama. We need to hold Wall Street accountable, and we need to start thinking about Main Street and how that affects the bottom line of the individual, and definitely won't be bailing out any of those businesses that are too big to fail. That's what the old regime would do. Somehow that impression ended up mixing together Obama and Clinton with the little finger thing, but not too closely. Resembled with the impression nobody's died on my property lately. But no, for the other side of this, because we know, okay? Past few months has really well illustrated that Main Street has just kind of turned their nose up to Bud Light, Budweiser, Michelob, everything that's basically under the Anheuser Busch umbrella. But how is it affecting Wall Street? This was something that we talked about well back in the cut, about a month or so ago. It was all the rage to take a look at how far the stock has plummeted. But okay, and as a man who likes to do some research for his videos on the day, I was wondering, inquiring minds do wander, and well, looks like, hey, Anheuser Busch, it's up for right now. It's up on the day. Well, that's fantastic. $58.86 per share. Maybe they're finally accurate in those, early June predictions. The boycott's finally starting to come around, and we're finally going to start making headway. But you also have to realize that, okay, this is a 5-day trend, okay? It's the highest it's been for the end of the day during the financial week. Fantastic stuff. Take a look at a month. Oh, good. It's actually on the rebound, down from the trough. Take a look at the 6 months. Yeah, and then the 6 months starts to tell a story where it's actually not all that good. And then you take a look at the year to date, and they aren't even back. They began the financial year of 2023 at $59.60 per share. They were riding high there, right at their peak. Got everything that's right there on the side. But with a seeming peak of $66.73 per share the day before everything kicked off. Funny how that ended up working. They were riding high. Oh, everything was great. Everything was fantastic. They were at $170 billion market cap, and now they're just scraping by with a meager $116.7 billion market cap. However, will the big businesses survive? Well, by word of mouth, they're going to end up taking a haircut. Obviously, nobody thought Bud Light or Anheuser Busch in general. Maybe the brand of Bud Light will just go ahead and get rejiggered and maybe shelved for a little while and then brought back. And it's like, hey guys, remember, summer's fun and all. If they're stupid, they'll bring it back towards the end of the year. But if they're, got something between their ears, especially with their new hiring practices, because guess what? Jobs are open because they've just laid off a few hundred people, and then they're still, I don't know, are they looking for somebody to fill the shoes, the very ample, pointy shoes of Alyssa Heinerschneid, who greenlit all of these terrible marketing campaigns, and it's not like the new ones are a hell of a lot better, but word of mouth right now around Bud Light because they insulted their consumer base, and one of the traditional examples of, if you want to try to broach the subject of trying to sell beer to just more people, which is the way that it's being spun in a lot of different places, you can go ahead and do that. You just don't insult your base. Bud Light is failing for every reason that the Barbie movie is succeeding. Follow me on this one. Bud Light directly, purposefully, multiple times over, insulted their base. The Barbie movie, for as much as it's a feminist nightmare that I think would be better off if it was just shelved into the deep, dark reaches of oblivion, which is also a reference that you can make for Greta Gerwig's box, but it's feminist babble. You take a look at who's going to that film, it's all of those lonely, single millennial women. Overwhelmingly so. So it hit on its demographic. For as much as you and I might detest the message, it's landing. Companies, if they're smart, they can learn from both of those situations. Hell, That's basically the premise of all of Robert Greene's books. I'm reading 33 Strategies of War right now. I'd kind of recommend it. It's definitely a dense book. You want to read that after probably 48 Laws of Power and maybe Mastery as well. There's only one dud that I've come across so far, and I've got most of the catalog that's right there. But anyways, that's an aside that doesn't really much matter at this point in time. Just know that even if you don't like something, okay, even if you utterly detest it, if it's successful, there's something to be learned from there. And if it's an abject failure, like the Bud Light situation, there is something to learn from these situations so you don't end up in a similar fate and that you can avoid it and prosper. But let's restate this for a second. Bud Light insulted Main Street America and must take these steps to recover from backlash. All right, what are they opining on? Bud Light has also lost its number one selling beer brand on a dollar per dollar basis to Modelo Especial. Is that confirmed now? Is it no longer number one? Because there's just been some back and forth when it comes to this stuff. It's like, no, it hasn't lost it quite yet, but it's on track to. It's only lost its number one spot for a couple of months consecutively. It's not quite final. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? Anheuser Busch, the parent company of Bud Light, announced that it laid off hundreds and hundreds of corporate workers as fallout continues following their partnership with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah, the Whitworth statement, today we took the very difficult but necessary decision to eliminate a number of positions across our corporate organization. If it was basically the DEI department, I would actually look to go dab up Brendan Whitworth for doing a smart job, but I'd imagine it's probably a bunch of redundant positions, which is, it's, corporate housekeeping. It's all necessary. Said Wednesday, we never take these decisions lightly. Not as light and crisp and refreshing as a cold can of Bud Light, though. Anyways, we want to ensure that our organization continues to be set for future long-term success. Oh yeah, that's always what you're worried about with the decisions that you make. Sure thing. These corporate structures changes will enable our teams to focus on what we do best: brewing great beer. Citation needed for everyone. Layoffs will not include frontline staff. Words are hard today. Don't worry about it. It's Friday. Come on, we're all just in the mood. Bud Light has also lost its number one spot as the number one selling beer brand on a dollar basis to Modelo Especial. Like, I don't know price points of this stuff. I don't drink, so I don't know if Bud Light is just cheaper in comparison to Modelo. Like, it tries to market itself as some sort of higher brow light draft, but at the same time, okay, if you're the number one selling brand or number one selling beer in the country, you can only be so boutique. And if Bud Light, for all intents and purposes, is giving their beer away for free, that's kind of where the volume argument starts to come back in here, and I would take that a little bit more as an authority, given the shady sales tactics that Bud Light and Budweiser and, well, Anheuser Busch have employed in general. Some U.S. lawmakers grieved that the company has seemingly lost its all-American status. No, to be fair, they continue to try to obfuscate from all of their problems, deflect any of the criticism against them by wrapping themselves in the American flag. Spoilers, it hasn't worked. While others said the company does deserve the backlash it's received since choosing to have a trans influencer as its spokesperson. It's tragic what's happening, Representative Eric Burleson of Missouri. Well, okay, if he's representing Missouri, where St. Louis, where, the brand was founded and all that shit, like, he has a responsibility to his constituency. So yes, it is tragic that all of those people ended up getting fired, and depending on where he's at, he's got to look out for his constituents. But it was good. Oh, it was a good American business owned by a great family. We touched on that, I think it was like Sunday or something like that. Anyways, as a Missourian, it's sad to see people lose their jobs because of the mistake that was made by Anheuser Busch, and hopefully they'll course correct and be able to return to the greatness that they were. Hey, shut up. Actually, smart one on this one. I don't think there's any question at all that they've insulted Main Street America. Representative Daryl Issa, Republican from California, must be Northern California, told Fox Digital. And when your advertising or promotion insults people, woke white women most affected, well, trans exclusionary radical feminists most affected. That's why this kicked off, and then everything else that Anheuser-Busch did in the aftermath, that's what kind of made this boycott have such long legs. I think it's appropriate. I think that there's no one leading the charge, but the people are making decisions simply to drink a different brand. And I think for Anheuser-Busch, they would be wise to get out of politics. Exactly. And Ralph Norham chimes in, yes, they deserved a backlash, and I hope they drink in hell. To do what they did, somebody has to sign off on it, and it shows you have consequences. The American people are telling Bud Light what they did was wrong, and they're not putting up with it. It's accountability that's missing, and consequences. Well, now they're facing the consequences. Have they taken accountability? Well, you already know what time it is on that one, but the people, like it was pointed out by Representative Issa here, nobody's telling them not to drink it. Everybody and individuals are making their own decisions. And this is the type of shit that smarter people were trying to warn Garth Brooks about with his stupid proclamation. We're going to have all beer at our brand new bar that's going to be opening. Don't care what it is. And if you're a bigot, racist, sexist, homophobe, you don't have to come here. But every portion of our sales at our new location, Friends in Low Places, a portion of it is just going to be given to Ukraine because as American taxpayers, you guys haven't done enough for the great people of the oppressed country of Ukraine that we couldn't point out to on a map. Virtue signaling assholes. But here you have independent bars who obviously, because this is happening at the end of July, can't believe we're at the end of July already, but they're taking Bud Light out of their bar because guess what? Nobody wants the shit. Bud Light is banished from Buffalo Bar as backlash over Dylan Mulvaney partnership continues, and Anheuser Busch is forced to lay off more than 380 workers. It's hilarious. I was one of the first people, legitimately, because I've seen all of the other commentary channels talk about it the next morning. I was one of the first people to talk about it, and I don't know what ended up happening to my Bud Light videos, but they ended up nosediving when it comes to views. Frankly, I don't care. You guys are here watching this at this point in time. That's the fuck all I care about. Fly-by-night viewers, fuck them. Who needs them? Bud Light's flatlining reputation has seen the once favorite beer in America banished entirely from a bar in Buffalo, New York, because no one is buying it. See? There you go. The market speaks. You do something that infuriates your base, guess what? They are going to reciprocate by just turning their back on you. Even if they loved Bud Light to begin with, if it was a drink of choice, the opposite of love isn't hate, because that's still emotions, and that's still an emotional reaction. The opposite of love is indifference, and that's what's being shown to Bud Light over these past weeks and months. Hilarious footage captured the moment the watering hole gave up the brand as the bartender untwisted the formerly iconic blue logo cap and replaced it with Miller Lite. Oh, sorry to hear about that. My local bar finally gave up and is removing Bud Light completely from the bar permanently. That's normally what removing means, permanently getting rid of it. Said YouTube personality and podcaster Daniel Keem, who posted the video on social media. That's not Keemstar, right? I think he's probably got it. I don't know. It's just the name sounds familiar. The clip has been viewed almost 9 million times in 2 days. Must be a YouTube short because that's what they prioritize now. Sees Keem laughing hysterically as he celebrates how Bud Light is so boycotted that it's being removed. Holy shit, that's crazy. Bro, look, bro, go. All the fucking soy jack faces. The move comes after the beer giant's disastrous collaboration. Yeah, tranny influencer. All I seen was, okay, here's some stills. Here's some stills that ended up coming out of this. Maybe we'll have a video to watch. I don't know. Frankly, I don't care. But okay, there you can see the tap. There you have Yingling. Okay, you got Labatt Blue. Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay, it's in Buffalo, so I guess they would have Labatt Blue there. I don't know what it's like in the States because it's like Labatt's Canadian beer, but okay, and then Bud Light on the end. Okay, and that's probably the reason. Can you think of a reason or two that this video is going viral? I'm just wondering, man. Notably, the bartender opted to swap the Bud Light tap with a Miller Lite one, which is owned by Anheuser Busch rival Molson Coors. So now you have Yingling's independent, as far as I know, and you have Molson or Labatt. And Labatt Molson, it's the same brand up here in Canada anyways. It's under the same umbrella, just like Rolling Rock. Michelob is still under the Anheuser-Busch umbrella, so the same difference. So now there's two Coors, and Anheuser-Busch is out in the cold, at least on that tap. Who knows? There's probably other taps. It's a bar after all. While anecdotal, the footage is telling of the dramatic fallout to the Dylan Mulvaney marketing as the once beloved Bud Light has now lost its top spot as America's favorite beer. While Modelo snatched the title almost 2 months ago, and probably next week we're going to figure out, hey, boy howdy, they lost it for a third. Also competitors such as Peroni, who's Peroni, Coors, and Blue Moon, owned by Coors, have also benefited. When the company overtook Bud Light, the falling brand saw a 22.8% fall in sales compared in the same time last year in the 4 weeks ending May 28th. This is the first time the Bud Light wasn't the best-selling brand in the country since 2001. The fucking World Trade Centers were still up and erect, and Bud Light was the best-selling beer then all the way up until now. Christ almighty, man. That just, that really tells us the terrorists did win. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. Watch it, follow your gut, and get after it. Take care, everyone.